One of the most common, most loathed stomach problems is bloating. Bloating happens when your abdomen retains fluids, traps gas, or feels swollen, and sometimes it can cause pain or discomfort. Who wants that? I don't, nobody does, but to avoid it, you have to know what causes it. Bloating is usually a result of poor digestion, too much sodium, or artificial sugar. Things like overeating and the habit of swallowing air when drinking or eating too quickly can contribute to it too. And sometimes even just eating certain foods could bring on bloating, like foods containing certain ingredients like lactose, sugar alcohols, processed or artificial sugars. Another culprit is fiber. Added fiber is difficult for some people to digest properly. Gas is a byproduct of fiber digestion, so whether it's due to not eating it enough or whatever other reason, you can get bloated from it. So while there are foods out there that can potentially bloat you, luckily there are also foods out there to help blast that belly bloat and help deflate all that gas out of your body. And I'm going to share some of the best ones with you in no particular order while showing some of my favorite ways I take them in, all right now. Asparagus. Asparagus has prebiotic fiber which helps feed your good gut bacteria, making for smooth and healthy digestion. There's also a particular amino acid in asparagus, asparagine, that makes it a natural diuretic, so you'll be peeing a bit more often, but in the process, it'll be helping you flush out any excess water out of your system. Sure, asparagus pee can smell a little funky. If you've never experienced it, you're in for a real treat. But hey, if the trade-off for some slightly smelly pee means relief from discomfort and water-retaining bloat, hey, that's a welcome no-brainer trade-off in my book. Avocados. Avocados are packed with great healthy fats, and they're also rich in potassium. The fats are what's going to help you feel fuller, longer, and off a less amount of food. And the potassium is what's going to help de-bloat you from feeling like a gas chamber. So chow down on some avocado toast and load up that guac on your burrito bowl. Bananas. Bananas are another one of the best sources of potassium you could eat. When it comes to bloating, potassium is what's going to help manage your body's sodium levels, and the soluble fiber in bananas can help prevent and relieve constipation caused by bloating. As a banana ripens, it becomes more easily digestible due to the breakdown of starches being converted to sugars. So for the easiest digestion and the tastiest treat, stick to the ripest bananas you could find. Celery. Celery has a high water content with a detoxing system. It's packed with fiber and all sorts of good digestive aids that decrease fluid retention and help regulate and control bowel movements and intestinal gas. It's one of the best things you could eat to help purge your body of toxins. They're great in stir fries or snacking on their own with some peanut butter. Cucumber. Cucumbers have a high water content just like celery, and they also contain a flavonoid antioxidant, quercetin, something not many of us will be able to pronounce correctly, but can help everyone decrease and reduce bloating. They're not just for depuffing your eyes, people, they can depuff your belly too. So make sure you consume those cucumbers. Mint. Oils in peppermint, including menthol, can help relax your gastrointestinal muscles to relieve spasm that cause discomfort and cause your stomach to bloat. Toss some fresh mint leaves into a salad or a mix with fruit, or steep some fresh leaves and have a good old mug of mint tea. Whatever you do, don't try and convince yourself that having a mojito or some mint chocolate chip cookies will help get the job done, because they won't. It's not happening. Trust me, I've tried. Pineapple, a tropical fruit that's high in the digestive enzyme bromelain. Pineapples help break down protein and ease digestion, things that would otherwise cause uncomfortable stomach issues. The stem and the core of pineapples are what carry the highest concentrations of the enzyme in comparison to the outer areas of the fruit. And before you even ask, I'm sure those are blended into it, but no, the Dole Whip is not a good way to get in your bloat-reducing pineapple dosage. I've tried that one too. Watermelon. Pretty much all melons are super beneficial for your health, but the watermelon in particular is one of the best at helping to battle bloating. It's packed with high water content, about 90%, so that's probably where it gets its name from. And it's also another great source of potassium, so this one's going to keep you hydrated, keep excess water retention out of your body, and help keep your sodium levels in check. Papaya. This super sweet, super delicious fruit contains an enzyme called papain, and if you eat too much of this too fast, you're in for some papain. Because this one's packed with fiber, you'll want to gradually add it into your diet instead of all at once. Otherwise, you'll experience more bloating and more gas. You definitely don't want that. What you do want is the good stuff out of this. It helps break down proteins in the digestive tract and helps improve digestion as a result. Beans and lentils. I know it probably sounds counterintuitive, but foods like beans that can make you feel like a hot air balloon at times can actually help when you eat more of them instead of less. Exposing your body to these kinds of foods more often will help train your body to digest them better. Lentils are packed with high protein and high fiber, making them a great choice for aiding with digestion. Potassium-rich beans like white beans, soybeans, and lima beans are also some of the highest fiber, high protein beans you could eat. Rosemary, a flavorful herb and often used to treat a variety of things from heartburn and headaches to high blood pressure. And it also helps treat intestinal gas to help treat indigestion and aid in digestion. You can add it to marinades, salad dressings, roasted veggies, combine it with celery and parsley for a cooking broth, all simple and great easy ways to get it into your system. Ginger. This is a superroot that's going to help get you right from the root of your stomach issues. It helps with any and all of the GI issues like bloating, nausea, digestive issues, gas, any and all of those. This is because of the anti-inflammatory properties of ginger that help the stomach to release gas. And sometimes the biggest things come from the smallest packages because so much of just a half a teaspoon of freshly chopped ginger could and should help with bloating. You could add it to your teas, sprinkle it onto your favorite foods, and sip and savor your way to a less puffy stomach. Turmeric. This healing spice reaps all sorts of benefits, one important one being the stimulation of digestion. Keeping things moving smoothly translates into less gas, less bloating, and more smooth body function and operation. This one helps fight pain and inflammation and is key in aiding upset stomachs and bloat reduction. You can season dishes with it like I like to do on pretty much anything and everything, or even use it as an added flavor sprinkle with another food on this list. So now that you know the best foods to banish bloat, here's the game plan you want to follow to make sure you win that battle. Fight it with fiber, regulate it with potassium, and flush it out with water. Incorporating the right foods into your diet can make all the difference in banishing bloat. Limit dairy, sugar, excess salt, carbonated beverages, and fatty stuff. Limit sugar alcohol containing food. These ferment in the gut and can contribute to bloating you up like a balloon. They're usually in sugar-free alternatives and are the worst offenders. Processed meats can also worsen symptoms. Bloated bellies are often from too much sodium and not enough potassium and fiber. Reducing sodium and increasing potassium can have an almost immediate effect of reducing bloat. More people than not should be adding more fiber to their diet, but for a lot of those people, gas and bloating is a huge side effect, especially when you're not used to eating it a lot. This happens because gas is a byproduct of fiber digestion. The best way to combat this is by consuming adequate amounts of enough water, which will help with lubing up the movements of fiber through your digestive system, thus reducing gas and reducing bloat. And if you haven't noticed by now, most of the foods on this list were high fibrous food that were also packed with high water content. If you're not accustomed to larger amounts of fiber, you'll want to start off small and gradually increase your intake over time to fully benefit instead of bloat from it. And likewise, many of the foods were also rich in potassium. Sodium has an effect on the body of retaining more water, while potassium has the exact opposite effect. It helps regulate the body's hydration and electrolyte levels and essentially counters the negative effects of overly processed foods. The body tends to store more water when it's in a state of dehydration. This happens when the body's salt-to-water ratio becomes unbalanced, causing the body to hold on to any extra fluids until that balance is restored back to normal. This is a nightmare recipe for unwanted and additional bloating. Staying hydrated with liquids and the high water concentrated foods mentioned will help avoid all that. Now, with all of that said, understand while these foods will definitely help reduce bloating, they aren't some sort of magical cure-all food. There isn't anything like that out there. If the majority of your food choices are consistently bad for you, a few good choices here and there aren't going to save you from that. You want to build an overall strong, nutritious diet as a whole for the most positive, longest lasting benefits and results. So to really help keep bloating down to a minimum, you're also going to want to make sure the majority of your intake comes from fresh foods instead of processed ones. Prepackaged meals and foods tend to have more added ingredients that don't do anything good for your body. So think of something like a prepackaged frozen dinner entree versus putting that meal together yourself with fresh ingredients. The more natural you could take something in, the better. Keep your sodium and sugar intake to a minimum, especially added and artificial sugars. Taking in too much will have your body tend to want to hold more water weight, and more weight in general than usual, resulting in that puffy look and feeling. Keep those down to keep this down. Keep your alcohol intake down. Drinking too much gets you dehydrated, and in turn that makes your body want to pull in more fluid, resulting in more bloating. Lastly, and probably most importantly, get your lifestyle in check. In addition to getting enough of the right foods every day, you've also got to get enough daily exercise and daily rest. Get your body moving and get your body working. You've got to think of it like a car. You could have the nicest car on the block, but if it just sits there without being driven and properly maintained, you're not going to be able to drive it. It's going to be a mess and it's not going to run like it's supposed to. It's the same exact thing with your body. You've got to keep it active and properly fueled to keep it running properly and running at its most optimal levels. And just the same, giving it enough rest to do so as well. So bringing the bloating down all comes down to a combination of the right amount of the right food and the right amount of the right workouts to get yourself right and your body right.